All right, thanks for tuning in to another episode of Atomic Diecast, and today we're going to do a Hot Wheels Lotus Cortina. This is a new casting, or relatively new. It came out in 2025, and I'd been hoping to find the red one. I think they're now just coming out, but my girlfriend stumbled across this car and got it for me, so here we are. I thought I'd do a quick review of it. Again, it was a new casting for 2025. And it's based on Jim Clark's 1964 British Saloon Car Championship winning Lotus, for lack of a better word. And let me talk a little bit about the ones that Hot Wheels have done so far, then I'll talk about this casting, and then I'll get into the actual car, which is somewhat the reverse of how I normally do this, but I thought I'd mix it up. So again, it came out in 2025. The first one was a Compact Kings series Cortina, and it was a cream color. Really neat little car. I've got one. I almost did that one today, but this red it got the nod, and I'll tell you why in a minute. And then for this year, 2026, it came back in what they call satin cherry. You'll see it's basically a flat red, but they call it satin cherry. And this year it's part of the HW Euro mainline set. And they're also going to do one in mint green later this year. Again, it'll be part of the HW Euro set. This will be a Dollar Tree Family Dollar exclusive. And I don't have any Dollar Trees or Family Dollars close to me, so I don't know if I'll find one or not. I won't go on eBay and pay a scalp price for one. It's just, they're nice, but they're not worth that to me. So let me talk a little bit about the casting. What it is that I like about this car, first and foremost, is Hot Wheels does a great job of finding obscure little cars that nobody's ever heard of. And I'm a car guy, and I had never heard of a Lotus Cortina. If I had, it was in one ear, out the other. And so it's good that they bring these out, because it does educate people on vehicles that are not commonly known, and particularly ones from many generations ago. So they did this one again in satin red. They did this wonderful gold accenting. I really applaud them for doing the entire roof gold. I think that sets the car off beautifully. They did tampoing with the number 63, which represents the year. They did it on the hood. They did it on the doors. They did a Hot Wheels logo on both rear quarter panels. They did some gold striping. All in all, I thought the delivery on it was really good. What I also like about this car is that they used the interior to form the grille and the bumper. And while that isn't uncommon, they did it in gold as opposed to black or chrome or some of the other color combinations they use on the plastic insert. And I think it matches well with the roof and the side tempo, and it really kind of gives the car a nice color combination front to back. The wheels are aero discs. They're tiny. That's probably going to hurt it a little bit on the test track, but it's fine. I think they really match this car well, because the original Cortina was a tiny little vehicle. And I don't know if it had 13-inch rims, no bigger than 14-inch rims, but it was just a miniature little car. And so they needed to use wheels on this Hot Wheels rendition that would, be appropriate to the size of the car itself. And this is right-hand drive. You'll notice when it comes around, the steering wheel is on the passenger side. And, again, I'm a sucker for satin paint, so this one really is an eye-catcher. The cream one as well from 2025, if you can find one of those, I recommend it. It's equally clean. The tampoing on this one isn't perfect. I mean, there are edges, particularly around the front of the top gold inlay, that there's some raggedness to, and some of the tampos didn't go on perfectly clean. There's some bleed over, but again, as I've said so many times, these cars cost $1, and I'm not going to sit here and nitpick that sort of thing. You also have to look really, really close to see it from a distance. It looks really clean. I did weigh the car. It comes in at 31 grams, and we're going to see in a little bit how that translates to the test track. So, last but not least, what is a Lotus Cortina? Well, it was a collaboration between Ford and Lotus. These cars were produced from 1963 to 1970. They were intended to be a high-performance small sedan. And they did two versions of them. They had a Mark I version, which was done from 1963 to 1966. I think there were about 3,200 of those made. And then they did a Mark II series from 1966 to 1970, so there's 1 year overlap, and they made, I think, 4,600 of those. So there's like less than 10,000 of these things in existence for the 7-year production span. The Mark IIs are a little wider, and there's a lot of differences, minor differences between the suspensions and some of the engine tuning and stuff like that, but just outwardly the Mark IIs were a bit wider. All were 2 doors, except as I understand it, there were 4 4-door prototypes made. I don't know if they were ever released to the public or not, but you know, essentially these were all 2-door cars. They didn't make a lot of power. They were called you know, high performance sedans. Both of these cars, the Mark I and II, used an overhead valve, dual overhead valve, I should say, or I should say dual overhead cam 4-cylinder at 1.57 liters. They were small. They did make really impressive numbers. The Mark I's made 105 horse. The Mark II's made 109. I guess, though, for the 1960s, a 4-cylinder churning out that type of power wasn't bad. You know, I don't know. And again, if you put it in a really light car like this, it probably goes well. They did do race versions of these. There's a lot of history on that. I just didn't have time, nor did I really have the interest to get into all of the racing versions of these. They were pretty competitive little cars in their days, though. They held their own with Jaguars. I can't say they beat them, but they were up there within the given classes. And those motors were enhanced, some of which made up to 180 horsepower. They used Lucas ignitions, and they had pretty radical head and cam alterations to make that much power from you know, a motor that essentially was less than you know, I mean, well, there's 60 cubic inches to a liter, so these motors were you know, less than 120 cubic inches, so basically a 100 cubic inch motor, give or take, and it was pumping out 180 horsepower, which wasn't bad. So that's about it. We're going to put this thing down the track and see how it does. All right, we're going to do the roll test. And one thing I forgot to mention in the first part of this video, you'll notice they used yellow glass inside the car, and I think it pairs extremely well with the gold paint and the gold grille and the gold taillight section. So if you didn't pick up on that, I think it's a great feature on this car. The other thing I forgot to mention is the exhaust pipe is formed from the gold interior as well, and it protrudes from the driver's side of the car. If you go back and look at the first part of the video again, you'll notice that small details, but ones that I really like. We'll see how this does on the track. It's got small diameter wheels, which normally hurt it with respect to how far it goes. Smaller diameter wheels have less circumference, and hence each rotation means less distance compared to ones that are larger in diameter, but who knows. So here goes number 1. All right, almost 3. Not bad, a lot of wheel wobble. Helps if I keep it on the track. Okay, same distance, about close to 3, not quite. All right, it's consistent. It pulls to the right, there's some wheel shake, but, you know, I'd say this one's average, and again, with small wheels, you know, almost getting to 3 isn't terrible. So thanks for watching, and be sure to like, share, and subscribe.